Going live in 3, 2.
I know you see.
I'm
Every time.
glad we're on the same page. Hello, everyone. We're the Continuity Crew. I'm Will.
I'm Zola.
That's Win, and we're back with another episode of the Big Feature Film Podcast. Came out we're doing Zola.
Haven't seen a Zola.
At Zola. This came out, I guess, last year. It says
2020. I think it came out at Sundance.
Probably some film festival. And then it's, I guess, produced, or the distribution is A24. We love A24 here. It's starring Taylor Page, Riley Keough.
I think it's Co. Yeah.
Low battery. Nicholas Braun. Main characters, I guess. And it's the story of a Twitter thread. And it's very. I didn't read the Twitter thread beforehand. I just read it before we started filming. Wynn had known about it. I just saw the trailer for this. And I was like, that looks like a cool movie. And then Wynn was like, yeah, it's based off a Twitter thread. And I was like, what? And I was like, well, I won't read it until the movie. So, which actually, I'm kind of surprised I did, because I was actually really excited for this movie. And typically I'm like, oh, I want to know all that stuff. But I was strong.
I was going to tell you the ending to the movie, but it's not at all the same as the Twitter thread.
Yeah, it's not. I'm surprised they didn't mention any of that stuff, or at least done like the little like words.
Yeah,
like, oh, this and this happened at the end once they got home or whatever. So, where to begin? Go read the Twitter thread
if you haven't read it.
If you haven't read it, or just go see the movie and then you'll know it.
It elevates your experience if you read it first, though. It's like a book.
I would say so. It definitely does. Because again, I hadn't read it, and like it was still super entertaining, and I really liked it. But there was definitely things you could pick up on. There was like word for word things that are from the tweets.
Yeah.
That are to this. So,
but everything in this movie is based on Twitter thread. So the movie is about Zola. I think her name is Zola. I think actually, something like that.
I think it's like a Kira King or something.
Yeah, that's it.
Isaiah
King.
Yeah.
She made this Twitter thread back in 2015 that was talking about how she met this girl who was basically a call girl, I guess, and Isaiah King was kind of dragged into that world too, and she just wanted to dance, but because this is a movie about two people in real life, there's two versions of the story. There's one version with Stephanie's version, and then of course Isaiah King.
Oh yeah, her real, and Stephanie, I think, is just the movie name. Her name's like Jess in real life.
Yeah. She said at Stephanie. She put it out on Reddit, and yeah, it basically went off to become this got so.
I didn't read the Reddit one, but it definitely seems like
no. It was very accurate to what she said. Like, you want to know how I met this bitch, and then she was like, reason number 2, like that kind of thing. That's why I was able to pick it up. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember this part. This got so popular that I think Washington Post, the people who broke Watergate, had to investigate this movie or this Twitter thread, and apparently 80% of it was true. There's one scene where I think that's why they kind of took it lightly, the whole not murder, but the shooting in the hotel. Apparently that wasn't true, and some of the murder stuff wasn't true. So yeah, this movie semi-accurate to the Twitter thread.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it seemed like. At least if you took it as nonfiction, I mean, as fiction, like the Twitter thread, like say none of it was real, it's pretty almost word for word, like, yeah. And it's done really well to take a Twitter thread and make it this. So.
You want to know a secret? I don't know if you noticed.
What?
Whenever the Twitter sound would come off, that was the line directly from the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking that was either like the next set of tweets or like the next, I don't know, something.
Nah, it was after every line.
Like, yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. I didn't even think about that, but that makes sense. I'm glad you told me, because I was thinking about that and I was going to bring that up. So
that's why they did, I think, in the beginning, almost almost at the very beginning that they did it so much, like the noise, and then they did that's because they were saying so many shit
from the like okay,
so
yeah,
I was
that makes
kind of
sense.
like, oh, okay, that's what that is. I thought
That's
it was
great.
just some random artistic thing. I was like, that's kind of lame, but then
yeah, I picked it up later. I liked just like critically stuff, I guess. Like the score reminded me a lot of Uncut Gems, and I love Uncut Gems score. And it's just very like techno kind of, but it's very simple. And it's also reminded me a lot of just like, I thought it was smart with like the phone sounds. Like it seemed like a lot of that, and just kind of dull like
it was
tones,
very,
I guess.
it was very reminiscent to the 30s black and white movies, like the music from it. You could tell that some of the soundtrack, it just kind of reminded me of Citizen Kane and some of them. And I'm not even lying. I was just kind of like, when I heard, I think when they were pulling up in that one hotel, just right before the scene that we were talking about earlier, I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of.
It does. It's like very simple. I mean, I don't. It doesn't. It's not necessarily old, but it's just
no.
It's done really well. I think it is supposed to sound kind of like dull and monotonous and like a phone, because it is like a Twitter thread. It's very not cliche, but tongue in cheek. So I like that. I thought it was a pretty movie. I like the colors. I
hated the whole grain, man.
That grain I can understand, but eventually, like, I just didn't see it. Like I in the beginning I was like, okay, cool. And then eventually, but I like the colors. I like their outfits, not even their stripper outfits.
Yeah.
But like one I really liked, one shot, even just to talk about cinematography, is when she's like standing on the railing in that like yellow bikini, and it's like through, and just how they did that, like when the window closed, there was no sound, you couldn't hear them talk. I thought that was really cool.
Sound design pretty good.
Yeah,
I kind of liked it. Only some parts. The whole phone thing was kind of annoying though. And then the whole Twitter thing was kind of also annoying, because I feel like anyone who's very familiar with this movie should already know the lines somewhat, or like someone who's read the Twitter thread, because like even I could pick it up, and that was without the Twitter sound. I was kind of like, oh yeah, I remember that. That's from
it's a very I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I like reading the tweets. I'm like, oh yeah, it's just, you pick it up. I would agree, even after reading it afterwards. So
the cons though, I kind of want to talk about cons a little bit.
Go for it.
The cinematography, although I like some of the shots, there were times where it's like, that needs to be planted. You don't need to do that dynamic.
No, yes,
I will say it was very dynamic. It was just like, yeah, you need to like put that camera down for a second and just like let the scene play out. You don't need to.
No, I agree. There was a lot of just cinematography wise, if you cut out like some of the scenes where you're just following the car, or like I don't know, there's just scenes where they're just placing the setting, or they're just driving. If you could take out all of those where there's not really any dialogue or anything, this movie would be like maybe 40 minutes long.
Yeah, I think they did that for pacing.
I mean, I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing per se. I just think they did it, and it would have been a lot shorter. It's already kind of a short movie. It's almost like an hour 30, but I felt like there was a lot of it, maybe a little too much. But I would agree that yes, for pacing, but still there was a lot of it. And depending on how you like a movie, that can, I guess, change your outlook on it. So
something that, I think we mentioned this already. Thing that I didn't really like about this movie was the whole grain. The thing is, like, I think I've trained my eye to know which one's digital and which one isn't actually film. And this one, you can kind of see where you can. It's basically, I think they made the RE, the camera they use in RE Flex, to shoot with film and digital. And sometimes, like, you can tell when it's digital. Sometimes you can't. Obviously, there are scenes in there where you definitely can't shoot in film. And I think one of them was that hotel scene again. I keep bringing that up because that's really where I was like, okay, yeah, this movie had to be shot in digital, because it didn't look very natural. And a lot of times it just looked like it was more annoying than actually helping the movie. But every other time, though, like every other scene is fine. I can handle the grain. It's just, you know when it's shot digital. And I think I've just kind of gone to that point where I think I've looked at way too many movies and cameras to tell. They're getting close though to film. They're
Yeah,
getting close to
I would
kind of
say even
manufacturing
like,
that.
I mean, I'm not a trained eye, but even me like kind of questioning it, I'm like, yeah, I can kind of, maybe this was, maybe it wasn't. But it's good. I don't think we should talk about the plot per se, because just go read the Twitter thread or go see the movie. I mean, the Twitter thread's accessible to everyone. You can, I think my laptop just died. It's fine.
I think the fact that they've already added some scenes, they should have added a little bit more. And I know they were trying to stay true to the story. It was just, I feel like there could have been a lot more there, and not like romanticizing anything. It's just like
make, I don't know, more dialogue, I guess, or because you can fill in gaps between like, I would say like one scene that wasn't like in the Twitter thread, and that might have came straight from Zola, is like the scene where Derek goes to that like liquor store or whatever and meets the guy. I bet that might have actually happened, but like you could add more scenes like that. There's definitely, I mean, they were there for 2 days. Like, I mean, and this is definitely a very artsy movie. You can just add just plain dialogue and make it look cool, just make it simple. I'd be more intrigued by that than the dialogue in Fast 9 so easily. So
the thing I'm wondering now is it good that they did what they needed to do, or is it better if they had a little more drawn
that's
out
a good
story?
question. Like, I mean, we'll never know because this is the product and they did what they did. I like it because it was short. I will say, like, for general audiences, like the guy in our theater, he said that movie was stupid. I like, definitely not for everyone. I'm surprised my sister liked it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm surprised your sister liked it too.
I was like, she likes like artsy type movies. Like, I'd say she probably likes most A24 movies I've shown her or told her to watch. But I was definitely surprised.
Yeah, I didn't think she would say that. I thought she was just gonna say, "Oh, that was really short" or something.
Yeah,
like
I was like, "Oh, that's something." Yeah, so I would agree. But
the actors in this movie cannot buy a lot of them, or a couple of them.
I couldn't buy both the guys. The girls I could, but I would agree.
I think the guys are kind of like in the silver. They kind of like in this place where they don't really know how to talk or feel.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like, I don't even think they said anything. Because that guy, the black dude in this movie, the pimp, he's in prison. In case you didn't know that.
That's true.
And,
they may not have gotten.
Yeah, he couldn't probably. It was probably off of Zola, and Zola was probably like, okay, he was more. I think it was a Nigerian, and
he had an African accent. Like whenever he'd get angry, come out. I feel like they leaned. I don't know the whole truth, like the story, but like I feel like they leaned a little too much into that. Whenever his accent came out the first time, I was like, what? Why? I'm confused by this.
I was confused when he didn't have an accent.
Yeah.
Because like I was like, I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be Nigerian, but he doesn't have any accent. Mm-hmm. But like I guess that happened.
I guess that's just you reading it, me not.
I think that's just in lower voices because sometimes I have an accent when I talk really loud.
I guess so.
Yeah. So I mean, I
guess that is just the thing. Yeah.
But the white dude did not like him.
So he's like supposed to be bipolar, and I don't know, get a better actor for that.
Yeah.
Honestly, like if you're gonna make that kind of a plot point, even like he's needy and he's insecure with the relationship. And he just didn't have the best performance. And honestly, he's not the star, so it doesn't necessarily matter too much. I do think both the girls did really well.
Except for Stephanie or Jessica.
I liked it.
Whatever his name. She was way ratchet. What's the word?
More ratchet.
Yeah, more ratchet in the movie than I thought she was actually. Because like
I could see that.
Yeah, because like the actual girl can write pretty well on Reddit.
Yeah.
So I read the Reddit post, and she can write pretty well, and I feel like she's a lot more educated than I like.
I think, and that probably from both ends. Where the story, it's like a game of telephone where it gets misconstrued throughout. It's like, oh, it's her side, then her side, so you don't really know who's telling what or what's the truth. but because I mean, honestly, I do think she was kind of dumb, just because if she was actually getting pimped out for like $100, like, come on, you're
Yeah, I guess. And also, I think
like, I don't know that world, but come on, you're selling coochie for $100.
She was right. Zola's right.
And you're stripping for more than that. You gotta put 2 and 2 together. Like, that's just me.
That's just 2 cents.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's like. Also, I don't know whose perspective this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be Zola's.
That is true.
But
It
as a general audience, it doesn't feel like
it's
in hers.
A perspective, really. It feels like she's telling you only at certain points, though, and then it's right back to this like weird, not weird, because that's most movies, a third person perspective where you're just kind of watching from the outside in.
But this is Zola's though.
Yeah,
I mean,
so it feels like it should be.
Yeah,
it felt like there should have been more little like quips with. They should have taken more from the tweets. I guess.
I mean, I think they took everything from the tweets except everything times where like she said something.
Yeah,
about something. So
I don't know. There should have. Because there was a lot. I was surprised how long that Twitter thread was, but I guess it was 148 tweets. So. Yeah. But I think there could have been more, or at least made it feel more like her perspective. But that's honestly, I can't think of many other cons.
It felt like this thing. I forgot to mention this, but while we were sitting in the movie, and there was that scene where they were driving down to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking like, is this supposed to be like a documentary style feeling? Because they're passing the camera around.
It reminded me of Project X.
Yeah, a little bit, but in another person's
and then it just
perspective.
stops. Like that's it. So it's again, there's a perspective problem absolutely in this, because we're talking all about Zola, and it's supposed to be from Zola's perspective, and she has these like kind of fourth wall breaks in a sense. And then we cut to Stephanie's perspective, and then we don't see that again once we're done with that. And then so it definitely has a perspective problem, but I wouldn't say it necessarily took anything away from how I like felt about the movie. It was still it was well put together movie. I think it's really cool that they did this in the first place, like taking a Twitter thread and making a movie.
Another one was a direction in some of the actors, like some of the blocking, because I think you see them a lot of times just kind of standing there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like you have all these dynamic shots, and they're all movement, but your characters are just kind of standing there. Mm-hmm. And I get it. I get, like, especially in that scene, again, in the first time we see the hotel room, like, she's selling herself, basically. Mm-hmm. I get it that she was supposed to be uncomfortable, but, she was just kind of standing there, and a lot of times it would just be like, I'm just going to move here because I guess.
But on the flip side of that, again, I talked about the shot of her on the balcony. I thought that looked really pretty with the clouds or whatever. But also there was a couple shots that I really liked, where there was one where you just see the pimp's mouth, and then there's Zola sitting like in front, and he's just like, it's this like side profile, and he's really like on the side of the screen. You see him talking, but it's just his mouth, and Zola's just sitting there. It was just a cool camera perspective. And then there was another one where they're going to a call, and Zola is like on her phone, and her shadow is like being projected up on the side of the building. I thought that just looked really pretty too. Like it almost looked fake. So I thought that was
the shot with the pimp. I remember that shot very well, because I remember thinking this movie already feels like a somewhat of a early 90s movie. Mm-hmm. Not 90s, early 30s or 20s, like whatever.
Yeah, that is kind of
they should have done the split dioptic look. Split dioptic thing is different.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because there's like, there's like, you get a filter basically, and the lens is split in half, and the other one's empty. So that one that's empty is focused on the other character in the background, the foreground, and the other characters in focus in the foreground. They should have just done that. I think that would have been really nice. That would have been really
maybe done
clever.
That more even. Yeah, to like maybe show some split between Zola and Stephanie, but
that would have been so cool if I saw that split dioptic thing and that
again,
perspective.
we're not the directors.
Neat.
We didn't make the movie. Well, you never know.
She's capable, it seems like. I just don't really trust her with anything bigger than this. I gotta be honest with you.
I could see that. Yeah, I think she's a good director. And I definitely see what you're saying though. It's not like this. I think it's already been successful. I would say it's came out of Sundance, so straight up, I would say it is successful.
Yeah, and
also just to be playing at the biggest theater around us, like
I feel like it would have come out regardless, even if it didn't come out of Sundance.
Oh, I'm just surprised it was playing at Regal, not our like the artsy Regal like downtown. So we still need to see Sparks Brothers. I hope that's still playing. But otherwise, it's a good movie. I really liked it. Overall, just like
I'm split 50-50 with it, man.
I could understand. This one, honestly, I could see tomorrow me disliking it.
Yeah.
But overall, I will understand the 50-50 feel, and I guess I kind of am too. Because overall, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. And my enjoyment, I'm also going to say a 5 out of 10. It is just very like split down the middle. I think it was cool. I think there was a lot of good things going for it. I think they did the best they could, though, with what they had. Because
they didn't spend all that much on that camera. If I swear to God, I know it says digital on there, but I feel like they actually did try to do film.
Mm-hmm.
That's cost so much money. They shouldn't have focused on that. But I think... creatively, I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
So I get a +1 for that. I was gonna say a 4.
Mm-hmm.
So that gets a +1. Some of the scenes were all right. It didn't feel like it was throwing me off. It was just kind of annoying that they made the decisions in the movie that the way they did.
Filmmaking decisions, I guess. But again, we didn't make it, so I don't know. I don't feel good criticizing it because I did really like it and they did what they did. But I was like, oh, I would have done this maybe different. But who am I to say? So
again, creatively, I think they did great.
Yes.
But the story, the way it was written, some of the dialogue,
I think that's kind of the issue.
It was fine, yeah.
Writing and direction just could have been a tad bit better. But
I love cinematography in general, so I love the tricks they use, like inhalation in that movie. You could see it everywhere. I guess they use a black pro mist, so. Overall, I love that style. I'm gonna give that a 6 in terms of critically, just because I love the style. But enjoyment, I want to say around 6.5.
That's fair. I think this is like one of the first movies you've rated higher than I have.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, I don't know.
I did say I was gonna give it a 4.
Yeah. So
yeah.
But the caveats. But anyways. That's been our Zola review. Big Feature Film Podcast, Bffp. Thank y'all for watching. Make sure you like if you enjoy. Comment down below. Have you ever wanted to be a stripper?
Would you recommend this movie? I think I would.
I would even
to a select group of people.
I don't know. I would just the fact my sister liked it, I would just throw it out there and be like, yeah, you should watch Zola. Honestly, out of everything playing right now, I would probably recommend this first.
Yeah, this is out of nowhere. Why did they release it now?
Yeah, it's supposed to come out. Technically, it comes out tomorrow on the 30th, and I think they're just trying to beat like 4th of July weekend and all the other releases that are coming out. So
they should have released this around not Christmas, but just right before it.
Yeah, or just like maybe earlier. I mean, okay, not considering pandemic stuff, if it was just normal, like I could see this as like a March, April release that does decently.
Something like that. At least not in summer.
I don't think this is going to do well at all at the box office.
No, because there's a lot of noise in Fast 9 right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of upsetting.
Yeah. It's going to drop so much. I bet Fast 9 is going to only make like 15 this week.
Yeah.
But anyways, like I said, comment down below. Have you ever wanted to be a stripper?
Don't do that. Don't.
What?
Don't.
You shaming fucking dancers, man?
No. We might have kids watching, and they're like, "Mommy, what's a stripper?"
We mark this as
hey, kid, if you want to know what a stripper is, it's basically someone dancing
for money.
For money, literally.
Yeah. But anyways,
and
we've been the
can
continuity
take that as
crew.
You want to.
I'm Will.
I'm Stephanie.
That's when. Thank y'all for watching. We love movies. We love y'all, and we'll see you on the next one. Zola on. Zola.